Hello, I'm back again with a new video. I have just just recently, just literally an hour ago, um, a guy named Mark Dice posted a video. Here's what Democrats literally believe these days. So I want to go over this video because two reasons. First, I don't know who Mark Dice is. I have never seen anything of his content. I just know he's a conservative, quite popular as well, and I'm curious what he thinks Democrats believe, because I have recognized and I've seen a lot of conservatives who do not know the positions that Democrats hold. They do not know why we hold the positions, or why leftists or why social democrats hold these positions. So I'm actually curious if he can properly lay down the arguments we have, and if he can properly either refute them or if he can actually acknowledge our positions. I'm really curious. So, let's get into it.
Jimmy Seville, public comments. Hi, Jimmy. Welcome.
Jimmy Savile, and I want to talk about a very serious issue in our community, and that's toddler transphobia. Last year, my wife and I adopted a 2-year-old boy from Uganda, from Africa, and we preferred a girl, but only we could get a boy, and we were still very happy about that. We just wanted a black child from Africa. And one day, my wife was painting her nails, and then Timmy wanted to paint his nails, and he was very interested in what she was doing. And it dawned on us, she had been watching a lot of TikTok videos and reading on BuzzFeed, learning about gender identity, and we had realized that gender was just a social construct and had nothing to do with biology whatsoever. And Timmy was assigned male at birth by the doctor, just by guessing from external anatomy. And that's when it dawned on us. We decided to transition Timmy into Tammy. That's when the problems started. Some of the parents at the daycare center were uncomfortable with our decision. They said, well, didn't you adopt a boy? And I said, well, didn't you know that gender is just a social construct? And we ran into some other problems when we wanted.
So far, this is fine. These are all the arguments people made, like gender is a social construct. I mean, yeah, this is all fine. He acknowledges the difference between sex and gender. He acknowledges that the doctor assigns male or female at birth, even though that could later change because it's a gender characteristic. I'm curious where he's going with this, though.
To get her some surgery. And we were denied by several clinics here in San Diego, but thankfully we found a clinic in Tijuana who was willing to perform the bottom surgery and amputate.
Wait. Okay, bottom surgery on toddlers is not something that should be happening. Alright? That's not what we're going for. Even if you're progressive and believe in like transgender issues, I do not think that you should allow children to transition with bottom surgery. Like, there are a lot of different ways people can transition. They can transition socially. They can uh, um, transition just by being acknowledged by their community that they are a girl or boy. They don't go just straight. Oh, yeah, um, I'm trans, therefore immediately surgery. No, it's a long process, and even then, um, before even surgery begins, or even if it's that an option, most often it will be looked at puberty blockers. So if you, for example, have a child who is 12, 13, 14 years old who just tries to enter puberty, and they are transgender, they've been recognized by doctors that they're transgender, then there is a possibility to stop that puberty from going on, so it will be easier in the future to have surgery if they want to continue down that path, and that's completely fine. But from being a toddler just painting their nails and then straight to going to surgery, I'm having a very hard time knowing if any of those people exist. Like he's just wrapping it all into just like one category. Like, yeah, you can, like, yeah, children can acknowledge that they're transgender. To, okay, so therefore all children who are transgender get surgery or something. Like, no, it's a process over multiple years. This could take decades to even get done. It's not as simple as he's framing it to be.
Tammy's external parts. But some of our neighbors still now won't let their kids come over to the house. They said that having a drag queen perform for Tammy's third birthday was inappropriate, and some of the fathers were upset that we had.
Boys Can Be Princesses 2 Lovable Photos series show. Uh, hmm, that's nice.
The boys dress up in princess dresses and put makeup on, and I said, well, haven't you seen Drag Queen Story Hour? This is what all of the cool parents are doing. Desmond is amazing, is an 11-year-old boy who performs drag. He's been featured on the Good Morning America.
Now, this may be a problem not because of the cross-dressing or the drag queen story hour. Um, this is just like dressing your children up as like a model. I think that's kind of fucked up. Like the model industry itself is fucked up. You know, they have pretty fucking high standards, and they're just barely surviving on little food. Like I feel like if you do this to kids, like beauty pageants for kids, it's also like fucking wrong. So if they're doing it like this, I don't think it's right. But if you just want to cross dress, there's nothing wrong with it being a drag queen or just cross dress. It's just fine. It's just clothes, no issue. But if you do it specifically for publicity or beauty pageants or that stuff, it can be excessive, it can be overwhelming, and it can be damaging to the development of the children. Right? So that's a clear distinction I want to make. So let's continue.
Show and was welcomed by an astounding applause. Michael Strahan was virtually salivating over here. So we're opening a transgender daycare clinic for other parents here. It's right up the street on San Marcos Boulevard. For other parents who want to change the gender of their children, it's called Hey Kids. It's named after Harry Hayes, Hay Kids. He was the father of the LGBT rights movement and disciple of Aleister Crowley, and probably
Wait.
LGBT, named after Harry Hayes.
Hate? Wait, what did he say?
Hay. It's called Hey Kids. It's named after Harry Hayes, Hay.
Hay. It didn't?
Kids. He was the father of.
Does seem like him. Knowledge of same-sex attraction. Marxism briefly studied at Stanford University. Doesn't seem like that there have been problems in his life. I'm wondering why he brings him up. I'm a little bit suspicious because most of the time when conservatives bring people up like this, there's either something behind it. We just looked at a video of Gothics. Um, she has done the video that we went over. There's always a layer deeper to the information they're putting out. Like we looked at the dictionary definition, then we look, oh, it has been changed, but it hasn't been changed so substantially that it changed the definition. So the same I'm doing right here. I'm looking at this person that he's talking about, and I'm wondering why he does it. because he knows what he's doing. Uh oh wait, I got him. He was an active supporter of the North American Man Boy Love Association, a pedophile advocacy organization. That's probably why I brought him up. Yep, I think most people would probably know him as this guy. Yeah, yeah.
The LGBT rights movement and disciple of Aleister Crowley, and probably best known for being the most famous member of NAMBLA. And
Yep. Ah, I just needed to wait like 10 seconds. There you have it. There you have it. This is also from the same Wikipedia page I just looked at. Yep, that's why he named him. God damn, I fuck, they're so easy to see through. So easy. Basically, he's just conflating transgenderism with pedophilia.
10 years ago, this would have seemed completely unheard of. We probably would have been arrested and thrown into prison. But
This is still unheard of. That okay, so let's get this story straight, right? So he adopted a black child from Nambia, I think it was. His name was Timmy. He painted his nails. So then he transitioned to she. Okay, so they acknowledged it. Okay, he's now transgender. Okay, so they took him to several doctors to immediately get surgery. Not even puberty blockers. Not even talking about just socially uh, um, transitioning. Not even like anything else. Like just the basic steps of how you go through this process. Just go, nope, fuck it, straight to surgery, which is bullshit. Nobody believes this. Okay, so straight to surgery. So then he wants to have like, was it kindergarten or something, or like something in the direction. Oh, sorry, daycare center, something along those lines, named after a pedophilic, a man who supported a pedophilic organization. He calls out transphobia of the parents. Well, this is not just transphobia. This is just basic care for the well-being of your child. Like you don't go from A to B. Like if I just paint my nails, it doesn't mean that I should just get surgery. And he's of course also dragging in dragging story hours or people who cross-dress as to say, oh, this is degeneracy. It's just uh, um, he's just trying to scare people by conflating proper transgender transformations with pedophilia and with disgust. He's not making any arguments, he's not making any claims, and I'm really wondering how the people behind, in front of him, will react to this, because this is just insane. Like, if they're all Democrats, they would be disgusted, and I hope so. Republicans as well. Like, they should recognize that this is not at all what progressives are advocating for. And I hope he gets called in this video.
thankfully, the Democrats have been paving the path for some time. This is all fully legal now, and Health and Human Services Secretary
Fox News, always reliable. Biden executive security figures suggests support for taxpayer-funded gender-altering procedures on children. I wanna know. Biden HHS sec Guerra suggests said politicians should stay out of the business of parents with transgender children. Health and Human Services Becerra appeared to express support on Wednesday for taxpayer funds being spent on gender reassignment surgeries on children. Um, I'm wondering, to what age? Hmm, let's see. Okay, so Becerra suggests support for taxpayer funded gender altering reassignment surgeries. Would there be a fact check article on this? When is this? That's 2020. Let's get it from the HHS itself. Wait, the budget invests $4.9 billion over 10 years in increased mandatory funding for services to stabilize parent. Seeks to improve outcomes for children in foster care by investing in increased funding for services for youth who experience foster care and transitioning to adulthood. So, depending on the age that they wanna give surgery, I either agree or disagree with it, because I think surgery should at least be done if you're 16. Because I think people at 16 are, first of all, then they would have already been in the process of getting puberty blockers, then they would have already been more conscious if they known it for a long time. Like I think 16 is the most exceptional age. 18 is the age that they are allowed to decide, and like above, right? So I think 16, in most extreme cases, it could be justifiable, but I do not think that below 16 can be justifiable. So I'm really curious about the specific age, and I doubt that this politician, HHS Secretary Becerra, would think that, for example, a 2-year-old or 5-year-old child gender affirming surgeries would be viable. I don't think he would believe that. If he would be pushed on it, I think he would say, yeah, there is an appropriate age in which to do it. Again, this is Fox News, so uh, uh, I don't want to just throw it off the table. Like, is probably a core of truth in it, but if you look even at the questions asked to them, asked to him, then he gets some pretty nasty questions, which he should be able to refute though. But this is just again fear mongering on uh, uh, on just giving surgeries to children. That's not what Democrats believe.
Just affirmed that child transgender surgery is part of the Obamacare plan. Jen Psaki.
Again, from what age? That's what I'm interested in. If somebody knows the answer, like, put it in the comments. I want to know more about this. If it's like, if he actually said like 13 or 12, and if he has some validation for why he thinks that age would be appropriate, then I want to know. Just if you know, like, if you see it coming by, if you have done research into it, just let me know. All right? Thanks.
Has agreed with the same thing. So we would expect this kind of transphobia in Florida under Ron DeSantis' leadership. But in California, in such a progressive state, it's quite disappointing. And what we're really thankful for is some of these drag queen cartoons for the kids. When we transition
Transvestite superhero cartoon. This was 2013. This is fine, by the way. It's just like, just when you thought you'd seen it all along, comes an announcement of the Hub, a low-rated cable TV channel that's attempting to increase the audience of children between 2 years old and age 11 by airing a cartoon featuring a boy who gains superpowers by wearing a special ring and dressed as a girl. I Who cares? It's just dressing as a girl and you get superpowers by it. Fuck, dude. If I had a ring and I get superpowers, but I just have to be dressed like a girl, I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, if you're a superhero, then you are always incognito. But apparently, this is troublesome. Like, honestly, what's the harm in people dressing as a girl? Like, they're just clothes. It's not gonna do any fucking harm. I mean, if you really want freedom, then you should be allowed to dress as whatever the fuck you want. And these cartoons basically say to children, hey, you can dress as whatever you want. That's fine. It creates openness, it creates an environment where people can just say, alright, so what? Who cares? And that's the goal, and that's where they're so against. They just want to have the two genders separate. They don't want anything new. They are against just anything progressive just because they want a certain hierarchy. They don't want there to be such equality between boys and girls that they can basically wear everything, you know? It's pretty stupid, actually.
Tammy, at first, she said, "No, I'm a boy." And we said, "Well, but all 3-year-olds from Uganda magically transition into a girl." And we found these cartoons called Drag Tots, and it's about a bunch of child drag queens, and another one called She Zhao,
Jesus,
which is
okay.
about
Can we
bunch of
acknowledge the
child drag
animation?
queens.
Holy shit, I don't think I've ever seen I've never seen animation with those big of a heads and eyes and then just so that small bodies. Holy shit.
And another one called She Zhao, which is about a little boy who finds a magic ring and it turns him into a
This is
drag
better
queen
animation.
when he says "You go, girl." So we were very thankful for that kinds of material. So we're going to be opening up the Hey Kids for that kinds of material. So we're going
Wait,
to be
he fucking gets a lightsaber. Fuck, that's cool.
opening up the Hey Kids transgender clinic for the children. We're going to be showing those kinds of cartoons just to help other parents who want to transition the gender for their children as well.
No. No, 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 no. It doesn't mean that people who watch this think, oh, hey, maybe my child is transgender. It's more like an acknowledgement that these people exist and that it's fine if you dress something outside of the gender stereotype. It's completely fine. I mean, I think that's why you also see progressive with colored hair. I personally don't like coloring my hair, but I mean, just stepping outside of the social norms and uh, um, trying to express yourself in as many ways as possible, that's fine. I mean, probably a few years back, or well, a few decades back, it would also been weird for women to wear pants in the first place. Like they would just wear skirts or like dresses. It would have been odd for them to wear pants. Look at where we are today. Women wear pants. Women wear suits and ties. There is a gap. Like women are getting more into men's clothing, into more professional clothing, right? And now we can also go the other way around. Like men wearing more feminine clothing. Men wearing, for example, high heels. Men having, for example, long hair, which can also be associated with a rocker look. But you get what I mean. Like these are all things that are gendered in our society. But by breaking those gender, uh, uh, the gender to a certain type of clothing, we actually open up more clothing for everyone. You know, now I can go out and wear a skirt, for example. You know, and that's a good thing. It creates more freedom for the individual to express themselves. And I don't think, well, and I don't know how he can actually think and see, yes, this show is indoctrination, because that's basically what he's saying. Let's continue.
Oh, and we are seeing some backlash, but thankfully on Facebook they have a policy against hate speech, and so they systematically remove most of the comments that are critical of the trans toddler agenda. And most of the
Never have I ever heard someone say trans toddler agenda. Never. Never. If he can find any one person who has ever said that in a way as seriously as possible, who is a Democrat or a progressive, I'd love to see it. Currently, what he's doing, building up a strawman. Nobody has ever said that. Guaranteed.
mainstream conservatives, the brand name Republicans, they'll go along with this. I mean, have you noticed how they've all given up on resisting gay marriage and gay adoption? They don't want to be called homophobes, so they're on board. We want to just thank the Blaze TV and PragerU. They recently endorsed gay surrogacy, and so gay surrogacy, gay adoption, it's all on board with the mainstream Republicans.
This is funny, by the way, because if you don't know who Dave Rubin is basically a gay conservative who has a partner named David, I believe, and they have applied for surrogacy, and they are getting two children, which is nice. They're a gay couple, they get two children, great. Here's the thing though, when they made this public, there was a lot of support from progressives, from conservative as well, but there were a fuck ton of conservatives who did not agree. They basically called them, they basically equivocated this, basically paying a woman for the uterus. They, I feel like they saw it as like it's like they were paying a whore or something. They were literally paying a hooker to give them a child. Like they made it sound so sketchy. They were still very much against it. They even said, "Oh, why don't you go for adoption?" But probably they wouldn't want it as well. A lot of conservatives were mad about this. All right, don't think that conservatives are just okay with gay people, because they're not. I think PragerU has a video explicitly saying gay people should not get married. Trust me, alright? Conservatives are still anti gay. We have currently moved as progressive, this movement has moved the goalpost a lot more further. So now we currently have to fight for trans rights. But if trans rights are endangered, they will go back to lesbian rights, to gay rights, to sexual liberation. Like everything on the table will be removed. Right? So now we have come so far from feminism to gay people to lesbians to bisexual, and now we're going into a transgender era. And now we need to ensure that we will never go back to the point when there were anti-gay and anti. Alright, we need to move forward as a society. I think someone explained it once to me like 3 steps forward, 1 step back. 3 steps forward, 1 step back. But for conservatives, it's never stopped. It's just go back as far as society can still accept us. So if they can shit on Dave Rubin and get away with it, they will. If they can shit on uh, um, if they can shit on transgender people and get away with it, they will. In the future, this will also not be acceptable. By the way, just keep that in mind. In the future, it will be impossible to be conservative and to be anti-gay.
So they'll capitulate at some point. They'll start using everyone's pronouns. So
Yeah, this is Dave Rubin and his partner with the two pictures of their babies.
we're just really looking forward to the new Disney transgender characters that are coming out, so we can show those at the clinic.
Nice. Now, I don't personally like Disney because they fuck a lot of things up, but more representation is good for the greater cause. If people are presented with, for example, uh, um, gay characters in films and movies, good representation matters.
And help indoctrinate the children for
Indoctrinated children. Nope, it's just representation. It's just about being more open to it and more accepting of the different sexualities people have.
the New World Order. Thank you.
Wait, New World Order?
Sorry. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to reports.
Nobody who says such things should be allowed to walk out of a city council meeting like that without being at least detained by the police so that they can get some information and launch an investigation. They're always in attendance at the meetings, by the way. I thought the police were going to follow me out the door and then detain me, and then I was going to have to explain to myself that it's me, and I didn't really do any of that, and it's a culture jam. But apparently in today's society, such things are accepted as normal. Well, not me. So I think I'm going to keep going to some city council.
Wait, everything he said as normal. Didn't he explicitly also had the faces of the people on screen? Like, didn't they also like react in sort of disgust? Like, if you would ask them what they thought of this, they would probably be cringing right now. They would be thinking, what the hell is he talking about?
To Tammy's external parts. But
See? See, wait, look at this.
and amputate to Tammy's external parts. But
She's amazed. She's not like amused by this. She probably thinks that he's crazy.
some of our neighbors still now won't let external parts.
Not gonna lie,
But
he
some
looks
of our-
concerned as
amputate
well.
To Tammy's external parts. But some of our
I feel like he looks very concerned about this guy.
neighbors still now won't.
Still, I still wanna know what they actually thought of what of what he just said. I'm very curious to their opinions because he just rambled. He just said a bunch of nonsense because obviously he's a conservative. He doesn't have like a transgender child or like adopted child. But it's crazy to me. Like, has he even asked what their positions were? First of all, free speech, so they wouldn't arrest him. But He's just saying, yeah, they let me speak. Like, isn't that what free speech is supposed to be? I mean, he's in a public setting. He's allowed to use he's allowed to say whatever the fuck he wants and not get arrested for it or get an investigation. But I guarantee nobody on that fucking panel or board or whatever of those people in front of him would have agreed with anything he just said. They would also think it's insane. Like, let's continue.
So I think I'm going to keep going to some city council meetings and character and culture jam them and explain in detail what exactly these liberals believe and what they're doing, and to support my work.
Yes, exactly what they believe. Well, he did not even get their positions. He didn't even describe their positions. And when we looked at the only 2 times that he showed their faces, they were amazed. They were in shock almost. I would say they weren't even agreeing with him. Like, if they were actually agreeing with him, they would like be nodding along. They weren't. Like, I want you to understand that what he's just saying is just like one big straw man. He's creating one fucked up view of what he thinks we support. Again, I can go over all of this, but everything he said was just bullshit.
Or click the join button
Nope.
that you can tip
Nope.
through Patreon.
Nope.
So thanks.
Nope. Alright. Just like, I want to know what the comments are. More greatness. Yeah, people really were exposed. Okay. It's very scary that people speak and think like this. Who? Like, I really want to know who. It wasn't so accurate. Nope. Like, I want him just to go back and ask what they think of this. Ah, yes. I love the look on their faces. What the hell have we done to society? Yes, because that's indeed what they were thinking. It's not like they thought a crazy man walked in. Holy shit, like, they actually believe this. They actually believe that they were just agreeing with them because they said nothing. First of all, they said nothing because they let him speak politely. Like, if you talk in a city council and you keep your you're just being you just talk in a nice way, you don't go aggressive or you don't insult people, then you can just basically say everything except when it's explicitly racist or transphobic or like homophobic or anything. But they hadn't even had a chance to get their opinions. I almost want to contact just one of the people who are on this board.
About a very serious.
I want to know what the hell they thought of this. I really want to know where he got them. I mean, anyway. Yeah, so this guy's an idiot. I also saw something about PragerU. Where is it? Oh yeah, those chaps PragerU and Blaze TV. Damn, you're not holding anything back. Now I'm wondering if this is sarcastic. Because they supported Dave Rubin. And if he thinks it's a jab, then I'm wondering if he's also a homophobe. Anyway, you see, this is just like some quote unquote liberal trolling, and then they think that's an own to any of our positions. They're so bad at strong at knowing our positions, guys. It's really awful. Anyway, that's it for today. If you wanna cover me anything, if you wanna see me cover anything else, let me know in the comments. Um, yeah, and I hope to see you next time. Leave a like, subscribe. Goodbye.